a glazed peach and raspberry tart. This is a classic fruit flan style tart. A simple pastry cream starts with milk. Measure a cup of it into my pot. Then I want to actually measure out 2 tablespoons into a bowl, and I'm gonna add my other custard ingredients to this bowl. And having the milk in there helps them blend together far nicer. But before I add these ingredients, you want to add some flavoring. So a little orange zest is nice. And of course, a little vanilla. I'm using a vanilla bean paste. It's actually the scraped out seeds from a vanilla bean. The speckle of vanilla bean seeds in the pastry cream is just so appealing. So while that heats on a medium heat, I'll get my other ingredients. A 1/4 cup of sugar and some cornstarch, 3 tablespoons, and 3 egg yolks. I can see I've got some steam coming up off of the milk, so I know it's almost ready. And what's important now is while whisking, I'm gonna slowly pour in the milk. This is known as tempering. You're just evening out the temperature so your eggs gradually take on the heat. The whole mixture returns to the pot. Make sure you use your eyes. I'm watching for the bubbles dissipating at the top of the pastry cream. So as it cooks faster, you have to work a little faster. And when you see that glossiness, you know you've got your pastry cream. And a pastry chef always strains their sauces. And right over 2 tablespoons of butter. And what the butter does is it halts the cooking process of the pastry cream because it cools it down back below that boiling point. And while it's still warm, I like to add, to sort of enhance that orange flavor, a little orange liqueur. It smells absolutely spectacular. Now, this is a small but very important step. Right away, you put a piece of plastic wrap. You need to press it directly on the surface of the pastry cream, like so, to avoid the dreaded pudding skin. So this has to cool completely to room temperature before I chill it. So that gives me time to roll and bake our sablé crust. I'll roll it out as much in a clean circle as I can. This time, I'm gonna line a single 9-inch removable bottom tart shell. When lining a tart shell for a larger tart, you want the pastry shell to stay in its place. You want to make sure you're pressing it right into the corners. That's going to keep the base of the pastry shell in place. And then when you're trimming the pastry shell, in this case, you can use your rolling pin. And the final tip is to make sure you dock your pastry. It allows the base of the tart to expand as it bakes, but the sides of the tart shell stay in place. Now, it is important to still chill this tart shell to set the butter, and I have one already chilled. So this tart shell bakes at 325. It takes about 20 minutes, so a little bit longer than the individual tart shells we take. My pastry cream has cooled completely, so it's time to fill the baked and cooled tart shell. It's important that the pastry shell is cooled so it doesn't absorb any of the liquids from the pastry cream. Just spread it right into the corners. This is really a point where you get to show your creativity as a pastry chef. Keep in mind, any fruit you wish to use, you should be able to enjoy it raw and without discoloring. Something like these sliced peaches, which I'll just layer on top of each other in a sort of fan pattern. So now I'm going to add fresh raspberries. And as much as possible, I like to hide the pastry cream, so it's a nice surprise underneath. Now that looks professional. To prevent the fruit from browning and give it a really professional shine, you add a glaze. Something I like to use is a simple apple jelly. And I just simply melt it over low heat. Use a pastry brush, and you just do a thin layer on top of the fruit. The shine just makes it look so professional. This is really where we see that sablé dough shine. Look at that structure. It stays in place. That's something you can be proud of. A dessert like this really shows that you know what you're doing and how to handle pâte sablé.